Hello there, and welcome to the Workflow Management 3 module. After completing Chapter 1, the specific knowledge and skills you would have gained should enable you to, firstly, understand the concepts behind BPM or Business Process Management. Secondly, describe what a typical business process that can be found in modern-day organizations look like. Thirdly, you should be able to discuss what we call the basic ingredients or the basic building blocks, if you will, for a business process, what they are, and actually be able to provide a formal definition of the terms business process and BPM or business process management. In the fourth learning outcome, we take a brief tour in history and learn about the discipline of BPM and how it came about and how it has matured and evolved over the past couple of years. Fifth, we investigate how a typical business process management or BPM initiative unfolds or happens in an organization through the process of the BPM lifecycle. So sixth and last, you should be able to define what the BPM lifecycle actually is. Hello there, and welcome to the Workflow Management 3 module. My name is Mpho David Kobedi, and I'm your facilitator for this module. In this module, we introduce you to the fascinating world of business process management. You will get to see how important business processes are for modern-day organizations and how business processes can be used to continuously enhance the performance of organizations as a whole. As such, you will be introduced to key concepts in business process management and the fascinating discipline of business process modeling. This course is structured around 10 chapters which are linked to the individual chapters in the prescribed textbook. Throughout the duration of the module, we will cover a variety of topics such as the business process management lifecycle, the essential and advanced aspects of business process modeling, as well as process analysis, looking at both the quantitative as well as the qualitative aspects. We'll dive into process redesign and process improvement, and also look at business process management as an enterprise capability. In this segment, we start with Chapter 1 of the prescribed textbook. In this chapter, we introduce the basic concepts of business process management or BPM. We provide a formal definition of what a business process is and also get to see how organizations manage business processes. We also define the study of business process management and introduce business process management or the BPM lifecycle. We also briefly investigate the concept of business process performance as management as an important aspect of managing business processes. We'll start with the first two learning outcomes. Firstly, we introduce the main concepts of BPM, and secondly, we describe some typical business processes that are found in modern-day or contemporary organizations. Now, usually the first step in learning a new field or discipline is to define what we mean by that field of study. However, before we try to provide a formal definition of what business process management is, we will first spend some time to explore the concept of a business process, since business processes are essential to the study of business process management. At first glance, you may in fact think that you don't know what a business process is. However, processes exist and are common in any business or organization, and we often interact with various business processes without even being aware. In essence, business processes are the series of activities that are undertaken by an organization in order to deliver or fulfill a service or product to customers and ultimately create value for itself and its customers. This means that the way in which these business processes are redesigned and executed can affect the quality and efficiency of the service that customers receive. To illustrate the concept of business processes, let's take a modern-day business such as takealot.com, the online shopping store. I'm certain that most of us have at some point or another have had to order an item or two from this online service store. Perhaps you were looking for a book or a fitness watch or a gaming gadget or whatever the case may be. Now, let's think about what some of the examples of business processes are in this context. And for now, just think about the actual activities that you perform as a customer, and also think about the activities that takealot.com would have to complete as an organization, obviously in the context of ordering goods online. Firstly, as a customer, you would have to complete an online order request that would enable you to purchase a particular good or service, make a corresponding payment, and ultimately you would receive the goods delivered to your home. These particular series of activities illustrate an example of what is known as an order-to-cash business process. This business process is characterized by distinct activities such as purchase order verification, shipment, delivery, invoice, payment receipt, and ultimately acknowledgement of receipt of goods by yourself as the customer. Secondly, you could either decide to simply request a quotation for the items or goods you are interested in purchasing as a means of simply checking what the items will cost you. Obviously, this process would take place before you decide to purchase or order the particular goods online. This specific process is an example of a process called the quote-to-order process. Thirdly, what happens if you as a customer have a complaint about your order? Say you received the incorrect goods or you have received goods that are damaged. You would have to raise a formal complaint with takealot.com and ensure your query is resolved satisfactorily, right? Now, similarly, the activities involved in doing this make a business process called the issue to resolution business process. The fourth example of a business process is when takealot.com has to procure or buy all the different goods and items that they sell online. In this case, the activities followed to do this could include, for example, that the organization could decide which goods and products they want to sell, where it is that they would want to buy them in bulk, how payment can be made to all the various suppliers and vendors, and so on. This is yet another example of a business process, in this case, the procure-to-pay process. Throughout our examples in this lecture, we will be referring to this instance of a business process as we learn the many different aspects of business process management. The fifth and last example of a business process, which is presented in the textbook, is called the application to approval process. This type of business process involves the typical activities that are undertaken by an organization in order to obtain authorization or approval to do something. For example, an employee at takealot.com may have to follow this process in order to apply for leave of absence from work, which their line manager would then have to approve. Earlier on, we mentioned the fact that we would be zooming a little bit deeper into the procure-to-pay business process to learn more about the different aspects of business process management. In the prescribed textbook, we refer to a specific case study called the BuildIT company case study. We learn from the case study that BuildIT is a construction company that focuses on civil infrastructure building projects such as building bridges, building pipelines, roads, and so on. Please take the time to read through this case study from your prescribed textbook. We learned that BuildIT employs engineers, also called site engineers, who work at different construction sites. The business model followed at BuildIT is such that the organization doesn't buy and own a lot of the equipment it uses in the construction process, but rather it rents the equipment from specialized suppliers. The organization therefore follows a rental request process to procure the different equipment and machinery it requires at different building sites.